and by 1 year we touch around 500 patients a day.
Wow. What are the key challenges managing hospitals today?
The core manpower in any hospital is medical and nursing.
And what makes you turn into administrator? Hi, welcome to Health Care Maverick channel. Today our topic is everyone wanted to start their own hospital, and most sought after profession is healthcare profession and medical profession. And today's scenario, starting a hospital is very difficult. We're going to find out whether it is worth or not. If it is worth, how we can run successfully. If it is not, we're going to find out. To find out, we have a special speaker today who is coming from the best hospital in Tamil Nadu and best in Coimbatore. And yes, that is PSG Super Specialty Hospital. Dr.JS Bhuvaneswaran, who is a 32 years plus experience. He is a director and who is shining star of this hospital and running successfully. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show. Yes. So I'm very happy to have you today, sir. Sir, this Healthcare Maverick channel, we running for hospital owners and doctors who want to run their hospitals effectively and run their clinic effectively. So today, this podcast is mostly focused on the topic which I said, that how to run this hospital effectively. Today's scenario is worth and what you say like that. So before going into deep, I want to know more about you. Can you share a bit about your journey, sir?
Basically, I am from a rural background. I hail from Gobichittipalayam. I studied in a Tamil medium local school, and I came quite well in my academic school as well as my college journey. Through merit, I joined Stanley Medical College, Chennai. I came out as the best outgoing from there. Then I joined for my MD, Kasturba Medical College, Manipal. I joined the prestigious Sri Chittarai Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences for my doctorate in cardiology, that is DM cardiology.
That is in Trivandrum,
which is a central government institution. I passed out of my DM at the age of 29, and then I came and started my career. Short stint in GKNM Hospital, after which I shifted to, rather I was asked to start the cardiology department in PSG hospitals as a first specialty doctor in PSG in 1994.
Wow.
Precisely 30 years before.
I just born in 1989. Sir, you are such a mentor to me. I always love you and very happy to have you today. And it's happy to know that you started a cardiology department.
Yes.
Sir, you are a renowned cardiologist. Everyone respects you much. And what makes you turn into administrator?
In fact, I fondly remember when I was as a young cardiologist, when I was called by PSG management, they asked me whether they can try starting a specialty hospital with me. In fact, he said, "Can we try it with you, doctor?" That's precisely the managing trustee asked me. I said, "Yes, sir. If you support me, I will do my best." And that support had led me to almost around 15 years of hectic cardiac practice. And I was doing almost around 10 to 12 hours of active cardiological practice till 2007. In 2007, during one of our conversations, when actually I went to represent an issue of one of my colleagues to the management, I told them that the needs of the super specialty doctors are different from the basic department or first tier doctors, and so we need to have a representation for the super specialty doctors. Then the managing trustee smiled at me and said, "Why can't you be the representative?" Now that is exactly how from core cardiological practice I came to be a part-time administrator. Interestingly, that's the time PSG management with Madras University started MBA Healthcare Administration course.
Okay.
And naturally, I always had an sort of a liking or some sort of admiration for this degree MBA. I used to wonder what is being taught in MBA. So I grabbed the opportunity, and in 2009, I joined MBA Healthcare Administration. It was a 2 year course, almost 18 subjects, which I loved doing it well with a full-time project. So from a full-time cardiologist, becoming a medical director at that time with the MBA, naturally pulled me more and more, sort of deviated me more and more from clinical side to the healthcare administration side. But the pinnacle of it was when I took a decision to move abroad, especially having served PSG for almost 20 years, I thought I should have to really explore becoming in international scenario, I took a decision to move to Abu Dhabi as a cardiologist actually, not as administrator. I went to Abu Dhabi as a cardiologist in one of the very well acclaimed hospital by name Ahalia group of hospitals.
Yes.
Interestingly run by Dr. Gopal sir, who is the chairman of the group. He has a very large presence in Palkad here, as
Yes,
you may be aware.
yes.
And Sir said, Doctor, please join our group. And I was, as a cardiologist, I was practicing for 2 months. One fine afternoon, he called me and said, Doctor, we have a brand new international style hospital with an investment of almost 400 million dirhams. We are looking for a medical head to run it. It means you have to get the license to run. Start the operation from day one. Will you be willing? So Dr. Gopal sir called me and said, it's a full-time job, doctor, because it's a large investment, and would you be willing to shift to medical administration? And he very clearly said, that means I'm asking you to reduce your clinical practice from 100% to 20% and healthcare administration for 80%. I was honestly not prepared to answer him immediately, although intuitively I said, why not sir, yes. So that is where I became sort of a full-time medical administrator, giving much lesser time to the clinical cardiac practice. It was a wonderful experience because we started from sort of licensing was done in one shot, which is again in the history of Abu Dhabi, it has never happened. Always they never clear a large hospital of that size in one licensing clearance, which we achieved. Then we started day one with 2 patients, and by 1 year we touched around 500 patients a day.
Wow.
The second year completion, we had a JCI accreditation with the highest ranking of almost 99.4 marks. By second year, we touched 1,000 patients a day.
Wow.
And we had almost around 100 doctors. Most of them are multinational with a good number of Indian doctors and good patient profile. All this gave me a confidence as a health administrator, which I started liking more. And in fact, I always felt that cardiology is one of my most passionate subjects. Medical administration also started becoming a very passionate thing to my heart. So that is how the shift happened.
Lovely, sir. Very happy to know that you have been taken the hospital from the beginning to the per day 2,000 patients a day. That's a very great to hear. So, what are the key challenges managing hospitals today?
I would say that a hospital currently has 2 eyes and 1 nose.
Uh-huh.
The eyes are actually, one eye is finance, the other eye is a quality healthcare which you have to provide. The nose is having a proper manpower. So when I say these 3, all the 3 are like a triangle, which are the most key areas of a hospital to be successful. And when I say finance is of 2 types, as you know, that the invested finance and the borrowed finance. And quality healthcare, there is no 2. It is the core important thing for any hospital. Because I always say that a hospital gets patients only because of the quality care. And there are no compromises in that. Now, if these 2 happen, you should have a manpower. When I say manpower, that is of 2 types. The core manpower in any hospital is medical and nursing.
Medical and nursing.
You should have the best ethically practicing, talented, good doctors and a good nursing force. And the second additional is all the supportive departments of a hospital. That means if you have a well-managed finance, a good manpower who can provide a quality health care, let me tell you honestly, you will be a winner.
So, in this, which is most challenging one and why?
Actually, the most challenging in this is actually the finance. Now, why I said, because in the beginning of the interview itself, you have very clearly said, in your experience, you have been seeing many people who are venturing in starting a healthcare facility, let it be a clinic or a nursing home or a small hospital, even large institutions. And many of them, in fact, if you really look at it, probably around 1/3 only make it for about 5 years. And out of that, probably another 50% only sustain over 10 years. Now, that is a statistic. So, having said that, most of these things fail because of poor management of finances. Because generally, people, nobody invests from their own finance. They always go for a borrowed finance. When you are going for a borrowed finance, or when you go to the institutions which lend you money, the mismanagement, miscalculations in finance, and the piling up of the loan amount, interest amount, that is where, when the attention to the healthcare starts becoming less, and people will be going more into how do I manage my next month installment, this is where exactly the failures start coming in. So, having said that, so the very first foremost in my mind is proper management of finance. Probably second in the list will be, again, the most important thing is to have manpower. Now, this is very challenging because currently there are two types of manpower, as I told you.
Nursing and...
Now, one of the most difficult things in healthcare scenario is having a proper nursing team. Even I'll come to the doctors even a little later, because nursing becomes one of the largest challenges, primarily because in my MBA, I did my project was on attrition in healthcare. That was in 2010. When I did, the attrition rate in our own nursing fleet in PSG was 17%.
17%.
17. Now, I asked my HR team to do an attrition calculation a few months back. It is now an astounding 38% in nursing, the peak.
This increase.
So, it is not just increase, it's almost 2.5 times more. Now, what do we realize? Now, retaining a quality nursing team is one of the major challenges which all hospitals face. Then next one is coming to the medical care. In medical care, if you see, there are two models. One model is a full-time availability of the doctors to the hospital. The other model is running the show with doctors who visit, spend a part-time of their time. And so this is the two models. Both the models have their plus and minuses. But in PSG, our majority, almost 90% of our doctors are full-timers. Where we are able to get our doctors, I would say that the USP or the unique selling potential of our institution is our medical care.
Yes.
I have excellent doctors who practice quality care, quality ethical care, and they do what is needed, and they give what is needed. So, whereas there are hospital models where you depend more on visiting consultants to run, there actually you may have big names who are coming and going, but they would not listen to you the way what you want. They would practice there, and you may have to adjust your requirements. So in these two models, the medical and the nursing, that is again a very challenging thing for in the healthcare industry next to the finance. So if you have to be successful, you have to be very, very clear, which I said in the beginning itself, as two eyes and one nose.
Sir, I want to zoom it a little deeper into this. Let's say a scenario that a hospital newly started. Yes, the hospital owner would be the medical profession. Let's say he is a cardiologist or neurologist. But in this scenario, now he built a, let's say, 100-bedded hospitals. So yes, he already practiced in a clinic setup or he in an institution setup. He might have some following of his patients. Now he started new one. In this scenario, he may get the same patient flow into the new hospitals. Because this question I'm asking, since he's a clinic setup now, so it might be he can able to manage all the expenses, okay, fine. But if it is a 100-bedded hospital, he going to hire a new doctors. How he gain a new patients? Because why I'm asking this, you said that you started Ahalia from zero today, 2,000 a day. So how he can pull a patients? What are the ethical ways you can suggest?
Actually speaking, again I want to highlight two models. One is somebody starting a single specialty hospital, successfully running, branching to become a multi-specialty hospital. I can quote immediately example which is available now in Coimbatore is Ganga Hospitals. Ganga Hospital was basically a single specialty hospital, ortho and probably plastic. And now they are one of the very well successfully running multi-specialty hospitals. Recently, in fact, I met one of my students who was basically passed out of PST Medical College. I met him in an alumni meet. He is basically a neurosurgeon. His brother is a neurologist. They have started a small hospital to start with in Avinashi. And I was so proud and happy to say that now they are become one of the big multi-specialty hospitals by name CNS hospitals in Avinashi. Now this is one scenario. Whereas in Ahalya hospitals, which you asked me, we started as a multi-specialty hospital. We always were very clear that we should have all the standard branches which should be available in a multi-speciality with the basic departments and the super specialty departments. So that is another scenario where you have starting a hospital with multiple departments. So single specialty becoming multi-specialty, multi-specialty to start with. So these are the two models. Now your question is that how do we run this successfully?
Why I have asked now, sir? Since you said the one big eyes required is finance. Finance required is coming from patient flow. So the patient flow building is very important to get the correct finance. So that is why I was asking this.
You have been in healthcare because you have been meeting doctors, you have been seeing how patients go to a doctor, etc., etc. If you have seen any doctor who becomes popular as well as good in his practice purely because of two things. One is the quality of practice which he has and the results which he gives. These are the two things which makes a doctor popular amongst patients. Having said that, once in the Indian scenario, because we never say no to a patient. Many other countries outside in the world, that people, you cannot, they will have very clear-cut defined practice by appointment. Whereas in Indian scenario, many of our doctors, they see, sometimes a general practitioner see about 100 to 150 patients, sometimes even more than that. Even specialty doctors. In fact, as a cardiologist, I have seen around 75 to 80 patients a day in peak practices.
You were very renowned at that
yes.
point.
So in that way, what brings patient to the doctor is primarily because of the quality care and the results what he does. Once you build up that practice, then you have an option to continue practicing like that, or why can't we have our own setup? Yes. That is where that. Now, many doctors, they decide to have their own setup for two reasons. One, they make it as a family practice. For example, a doctor marrying a doctor whose brother is a doctor, whose brother's wife is a doctor. So like that, they form a core team who can do it. There are so many models like that.
Yes, sir.
Like here you take our Abrami hospitals or Gem hospitals or Tangam hospitals in Namakkal, like many hospitals we have. Number two is, as this thing, you develop the same specialty related. For example, if you are a cardiologist who is starting a hospital, then you pull in cardiac surgery, you pull in pediatric cardiology, you pull in some sort of all the related cardiological sciences together to make it as a single specialty hospital. This is how exactly they want to do expert care in that area as number one. So you have a good autonomy to practice and you have a complete independence to practice, because these doctors have proven their worth in some other hospital, so they feel that why can't we have our own. The second important thing is definitely finance, because as a medical doctor, if you are able to, with your expertise, if you are able to earn a decent money, when you start a hospital, that decent become more decent. What I mean to say is, there are instances where a doctor who was earning probably around 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs a month with his practice, once he becomes a owner of a hospital, once he becomes a successful owner of the hospital, the earning is endless.
Yes.
So, passion, independence, autonomy, family practice support, plus finance. So, these are all the things which makes people to get into the idea of starting hospital.
One more point I get an extra is that if you want to be successful, you should have allied partnership. You should have a good partnership, so that will bring more patient flow also. So, and today's scenario, you need to be profitable in a hospital. because so many things to be taken care, not few parameters. I heard that some 45 parameters to be fulfilled for an legal side itself. Like starting from ESAPF, like that. So how to ensuring the quality care? How at the same time you maintain your profitability? How PSG does?
See, as again, they are all models. In once you have ventured into start the hospital. Once you have decided, or once you have started a hospital setup, you have to clearly understand a hospital has two wheels. Hospital as a vehicle has two wheels. One wheel is the general administration. The other wheel is the medical administration. When I say the general administration, that is exactly the one which is the key component of hospital, which will have all the supportive departments to run a hospital. For example, it starts from the infrastructure of the maintenance team, the HR team, the biomedical team, the dietary team, the security team, the general administration team, so housekeeping. So all these are all the basic ones which are, I named them as general administration. Other important wheel is the medical administration. Now medical administration team has doctors, the nurses, the technicians, and all the people who support the OP and IP practices, like the front desk people. So these are all the people which run the medical administration of the healthcare services. Both these wheels are the most important for any hospital. So in PSG, what we have been doing is, we have created an exclusive team for the medical administration.
Okay.
In fact, which I head, wherein we have almost now currently we have around 210 doctors practicing.
Wow.
And around 1,200 nurses in the hospital.
Very high number.
And with a large supportive team to the tune of, now currently we have around 4,300 employees in the hospital, which now currently has an OPD intake of around 1,800 a day, if you take medical college and the
super
specialty. So I have an operation team which exclusively take care of them, and I have been very clear with my team. The two important things in our medical administration is quality health care and the patient experience. These are the two important things which is concentrated in this medical administration. Our doctors are extremely committed, very, very knowledgeable, very experienced. In fact, I smile and say that I need not tell my doctors what to do. My job is very easy. I always say I am a leader who lead from behind. I don't lead in the front.
Yes.
I am at their back. I support them for them to execute what they want.
Yes.
Come to me only when they have some issue. Otherwise, they don't come to me. The second important thing is, I have created a very strong team in the medical operations, where I have made it clear the customer, the so-called customer to the hospital, is a patient. So patient first. And I call it as patient, not patient experience, patient delight. So a patient who comes to the hospital is the boss. So you have to make sure that he is taken care well. This is exactly is what is strived in the medical side. The general administration, as I told you, when I said two important departments which I forgot or which I did not tell, were the insurance and billing, which is again very, very important.
That is very important.
Which many a times, the patients are extremely happy with the doctors, nursing, but they get really upset with these services. So this happens in many hospitals. So having said, the general administration currently is being taken care by one of my colleagues. So we both take decisions together.
Yes.
So this is the model which we run in PSG Hospital. So we have been very, very successful in doing it primarily because of obviously the long-standing commitment. Like as I told you, I came to PSG as almost a 30-year-old cardiologist, and I am just 60 now. So 30 years of experience, which was a short stint of 5 years outside Abu Dhabi, I came back to PSG. So And very interesting thing which I may probably have to tell you is PSG's finance model is very, very different compared to many others. We are zero borrowers. So we work with our capital expenses. Our investments are totally from our capital and we don't borrow. So in that way, our finance model is much, much different than many other finance models which the city or the world has. So having said, the general administration, they do their best to support us. The medical administration, we take the ball forward. And our current model has now made us one of the best hospitals in Coimbatore, probably even in Tamil Nadu.
So the secret is that not getting borrowed outside.
No, that is not. I don't think it is. This is possible with many others. Even I remember many of the people have approached us and said that why you want to spend your capital money? Why can't you borrow? And then, it's something like, there are people who do this. There are models in which, people, in spite of them having money, it's like, many times we do this for car buying. So you may be able to afford to buy a car by paying 20 lakhs or 25 lakhs. You may definitely be. But still what people do, you probably put on 10 lakhs, you give 15 lakhs, you go for loan. The reason what you say, one is it may have some financial benefits in your taxation. And number two is that there are people who feel that, having a loan makes me work better. So there are people who have a different model. So having said that, total capital expenses of this magnitude is, I don't think, it's a very unique model, I would say.
Thanks for the answer, sir. So can you share some of the ideas on how to manage budget effectively for the new hospital owners?
Our experience, what we do is, we have, although we are a trust hospital, once I have taken over as the director of the super specialty hospital in PSG, we have been running it properly like a corporate hospital.
Okay.
By which what I mean, we have every month we have the performance assessment. Okay. Every 3 months we have finance review. And every 1 year we have budgetary review meetings. Now this is our model. Most important, I would say that any hospital owner, whether your money or borrowed money, you should be very clear in having a very good financial manager or a financial supporter. Because if your knowledge may be there, but that may not be sufficient or adequate. So you should have a good financial, reliable financial advisor for you to run the show. And the most important is, if you have to do a budget allocation, you have to take it into mind a couple of things. Number one is a hospital, if you have to run it profitably, current availability profit margins for any hospital in total is probably about 20% too. And if that has to happen, you may have to plan your budgetary allocations, which should be providing adequate scope for the future expansions. Okay. Like how, the depreciation is very commonly, everybody understands depreciation. When you say that you have a depreciation of 25%, in healthcare we take 25%, not 20%. 25% a year. If I buy an equipment and I have a depreciation of 25% a year, same 25% I should be able to allocate to my budget.
So for future expansions.
Yes. So if I have to expand in the forward way, if I have given a budgetary allocation of 100 crores, so my next year budget allocation should be 125 crores. This is one way of looking at budget. The most important thing is, any successful model will only happen when you plug the loops of money loss. Now, in a medical setup, it can happen very rampantly in the purchase areas, in the billing areas, and the pilferages are very, very well known in many places. So, a very good model of the managing the finance is to control the what do you call this, the loss. So that means our budgetary allocations, we have very clear ideas. What should be our capital expenses for expansion? what should be the money which should be there for the day, the running of the regular running of the hospital, and what should be the money which is there for the expansion of the future infrastructure expansion as well as the technological expansions. So like that only we plan. And I told you keeping this 25% in mind will be of very good use.
Lovely, sir. The summary is that you should have a best financial advisor in your team. And second, you should have a meeting rhythm like monthly, quarterly, yearly review should be there. And the proper allocation of funds should be there for depreciation and expansion, that should be there. Sir, next question, what should be the pricing strategy?
I will tell you our model. We have a very clear-cut defined pricing policy. Now what I do, for example, now we have started our oncology. So for oncology, I have two references. Number one, I have a costing team. So we have a team which is a full-fledged costing team. So I tell them to do costing for a procedure.
Okay.
So they do a proper costing, investment, interest, manpower, the consumable, everything they calculate, and with probably the professional fees added, they do a costing. Then I'll give you an example. Okay, PET scan you take, a regular PET scan. A regular PET scan, we do a costing, we come up to a particular value. Okay, for example, 7,000 rupees is our costing per case. If we do probably around 12 to 15 cases a day. Whereas the PET scan is being offered in Coimbatore itself in about half a dozen hospitals.
Yes.
They have a tariff, existing tariff. For example, the existing tariff on an average is 15,000 rupees. Our costing, we have got 7,000 rupees per. I have my neighboring hospital, a reputed hospital, offering it for 15,000 rupees.
Okay.
Now, I have a choice. Where do I fix? What generally we look at it, we want to be a cost-effective hospital. At the same time, we are ready to cut down on our profit margin to make sure that many patients should be able to afford PSG's tariff. So we fix 12,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. So that means I should always have a costing. So I should know what is my expense in every individual procedure or a surgery or a cost, whatever it is. And I should know what is the prevailing on an average outside. And so I fix in between lower than my competitive hospitals. At the same time, it should be still positive for us. This is a strategy which we should always adopt for you to be successful.
Lovely.
And so this has been our model. And we have now, even for a small procedure, any simple thing, we do a costing. So of late, I would advise all the hospitals to have this strategy of costing. Never go by just only by, okay, somebody is charging 7,000, let me charge 6,000. That should not be. You should know what is your cost. And so you should be very, very cautious. And this is what you call this is a hygiene of
professional way.
Tariff fixation should have a hygiene. You know that historically, PSG was started as a medical college. PSG has already completed 22 heart transplants the last 2 years.
What are the new things changed after COVID?
Hospitals should be able to spend money on these things.